Okay, so we're told that a ratio, which is y plus x to y minus x, is equivalent to k to 1. All right. Well, let's just write that down in a second. We're asked to show that y equals something, but let's just write down these two ratios. So we're told that y plus x to y minus x is the same as k to 1. Well, how do I make that into an equation? Well, there are a couple of ways of doing it, but it seems pretty obvious that the best way to do it is to say, well, hang on, y plus x over k must be y minus x over 1, because they're ratios, and so the scale factors will be the same, and we can say y plus x over k is equal to y minus x over 1. So we've made an equation, and now all we need to do, he said, all we need to do is rearrange it into y equals. Well, there are lots of ways of rearranging equations. I have a little mnemonic for doing it, which you may have come across before, which is groff groblet, find answer. Okay, and if you have come across it before, you'll know that that D is a capital D because it's not really connected to the fin at all, but it reads better if you say groff groblet, find answer. Okay, for a more detailed explanation of this, look elsewhere. Now, what does it actually mean? Well, groff takes you step by step. The first step is get rid of fractions, okay, which we're going to do by multiplying by the bottoms. Well, multiplying by 1 doesn't make any difference, so let's just multiply both sides by k. And we do that, and on the left-hand side, the point of doing it is that the k's cancel, and on the right-hand side, we get k times y minus x. So let's just write that out a bit more clearly. Y plus x is equal to y minus x times k. Right, so if groff stands for get rid of fractions, what does grob stand for? Well, clearly, that's going to stand for get rid of brackets, which we do on the right-hand side by multiplying the k by the minus x and the k by the y. Anything outside the bracket by anything inside the bracket. So y plus x is equal to, well, let's do k times y, and then k times minus x is minus kx. Good. So far, so good, anyway. What happens after groff grob? Well, it's let. And what does let mean? Well, it means one of two things, depending on how precise you're feeling. I like it to mean lump everything together. It can mean let's examine terms, though. And the point of it is that we need to lump all the y terms on one side. So here I am examining the terms. And then all the terms without y on the other side. Okay, so let's do that. Now, I'm actually going to try and keep minus signs to a minimum, so I'm going to get rid of the kx from the right. You might be tempted to do this the other way around, but I think this is a neater way of doing it. So on the left, I get y plus x, which I already had, plus the kx, and that's equal to ky. Now I need to get all the y terms on the other side, so I subtract y from the left-hand side, and that gives me x plus kx is equal to ky minus y. Okay, so I've got all the y's on one side, there they are. All the things without y on the other side, there they are. And groff groblet now tells me to fin, to factorise if necessary. And this is only necessary when I have more than one term with, in this case, y in it. And I do, so I need to factorise on the right-hand side. And if I take out a factor of y, what do I get left with? Well, k, because k times y is ky, minus 1, because y times minus 1 is minus y. I could factorise on the right-hand side as well if I want to, and looking at the question, they definitely have, so let's actually do that as well. Let's take a factor of x out, and I get left with 1 plus k. And now, to get the y on its own, I do the next thing in Croft-Groblet, which is the D. The D. What does D stand for? D stands for divide. So I divide by the k minus 1 on both sides, obviously, because if I do it to one side, I must do it to the other. The k minus 1s on the right cancel. That was the point of doing that. And I get y equals, okay, it says equals y, but it's the same thing. Y equals x times 1 plus k over k minus 1, which is the same thing as the bit in the question. If you want to, I could write this out again with y on the left and then exactly as they write it. But I don't really need to because I've demonstrated that I know how to do it. Good stuff.